great deal. Jeffrey's mother, Chava's father, any of those who have felt a deep pain can lash back, burn a hole, burn a bridge, whatever they need to do. If only because when you feel that much pain, the only way to express that pain is to give it to someone else. If we reverse Mary Oliver's logic, we sometimes let the wounded animal of our bodies wound others. And not just individuals, not just our personal lives. How much of the perpetual and intractable Israeli-Palestinian struggle is about mountains of pain? Another reason we tear the fabric of life is that we are afraid. When we think survival is at stake, we will do anything to stay alive, including kicking people off the thread that the spider let down, if only to get away. Fear, like pain, narrows our vision to our own survival, and anything that stands between us and survival must be put aside. We develop tunnel vision. Everything becomes black and white. And again, this is not just personal. What is North Korea except a terrified nation using fear itself? A third reason we sin is because we can. I don't mean existentially, but when we have the ability to do whatever we want without thinking about it, we will do whatever we want without thinking about it. Be it Ezekiel's kings and princes who steal from the people because they have the power to do it, or be it banks that tell us they are immune from consequences because they are too big to fail. We commit sin sometimes just because we can get away with it. I'll talk a little more about that in a couple of weeks. Back in the fictional Skid Row of Little Shop of Horrors, you see all three. Those who have been hurt, those who are afraid, those who can lord it over others. And that's why you can go to any Skid Row anywhere and find crime and drugs, because the people there struggle with the pain and the fear and the power. But anyone can, and everyone has, torn the fabric of life a few times. I'm not here to tell you why people commit sins. We just know that they do. And even if we know why, that won't stop them from doing it. Even if you know why, you're still going to commit more sins. The true tragedy is that what happens when we feel bad is that we're on the receiving end of someone else's tearing the fabric. And what do we do in return? Well, we tear it right back. So there, I'll show you. I won't see you anymore. I'm rejecting you too. Sin self-propagates. Back in fictional Puritan Boston, Hester Prynne is ostracized for her adultery. She lives on the edge of town with her bastard daughter, and they're barely allowed to associate. And as many of you know, ultimately the local preacher admits his role as the father and literally dies of guilt. And so Hester and Pearl sail away, but as the book continues, Hester returned and resumed the symbol of which we have related so dark a tale, says Hawthorne. Never afterwards did it quit her bosom, but in the lapse of the toilsome, thoughtful, and self-devoted years that made up Hester's life, the Scarlet Letter ceased to be a stigma which attracted the world's scorn. People brought all their sorrows and perplexities, besought her counsel, as one who had herself gone through a mighty trouble. Women especially came to Hester's cottage asking why they were so wretched, and Hester comforted and counseled them as best she might. You may remember Hester Prynne was a seamstress. She literally created the A on her chest, and she put gold thread in it, very immodest, and made clothing for her daughter Pearl that was far too opulent, and sewed dresses for the women in town. At the end of the book, she is sewing up hearts. She is mending the fabric that others have torn. This is the choice we all face. not whether we shall sin. We will. We will all tear the fabric of life at least a few times. The question is, will we mend what we tear? When pain and fear and wrath circle our hearts, will the soft animal bodies we are choose to lash back or try to mend the fabric? Sin happens. The fabric gets torn. That will always be true. What we need, friends, is not an end to sin, but a world of seamstresses sewing up the holes we always will make. Next week, Patrick will describe one of these threads we have available to sew up the torn places in life. And Audrey, too, am I right? Will there be a plant-like object making an appearance next Sunday, inviting Seymour and you to feed me? See you in church. Comrades, I'm pulling a fast one on you today. We're not going to do the choral benediction you see. What we're going to do is we're going to sing one verse, and I'll say a few words of blessing, and then you're going to sit down and we're all going to sing another great song. Am I right, Mr. Jason? Cool. It's one we've been doing in early worship. So I invite us now to sing one verse as a sung blessing, and I'll offer a few words, and I'll invite Wright and Jason and DJ and Friend to get in place, along with our bassist of the day, Mr. Stephen Low Note Barton. Hear these words of St. Francis of Assisi. Where hate rules, let us bring love. Where sorrow reigns, bring joy. Let us strive to comfort others more than to be comforted, to understand others more than to be understood, to love more than to be loved. For it is in giving that we receive, and in pardoning that we are pardoned. And remember always that this day and every day is the day which the Lord has made. Let us rejoice ever and be glad in it. Have a seat.
Friends, over in eWorship at 9:45, we make a practice out of singing together. And so I'm going to invite you this morning to learn the refrain, the chorus to this great tune. Anybody here alive in 1972? Excellent. Then you all know a man named Ray Charles, who brought to us a song I think it fits perfectly within this Lenten season. None of us are free. I'm going to teach you the chorus right now. The words are simple. I'm going to sing one phrase, you sing it right back to me. None of us are free. None of us are free. Thank you. None of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If anyone is chained, none of us are free. None of us are free if anyone is chained. None of us are free. As loud as you can. You'll know when to come in. You better listen, my brother, 'cause if you do, you will hear there are voices calling all across the year. They are crying across the ocean, they are crying across the land, and they will till we all come to understand. It's your part. None of us are free. Yes, none of us are free. None of us are free. If anyone is chained, none of us are free. One more time. None of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If anyone is chained, none of us are free. There are people in the darkness, and they just can't see the light. And if we don't say it's wrong, that says it's right. We gotta feel for each other, let our sisters know we're here. Gotta get the message, get it out, make it loud and clear. Sing with me, none of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If anyone is chained, none of us are free. I know you're dying to clap. None of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If anyone is chained, none of us are free. If you just look around you, you're gonna see what I say. 'Cause the world's getting stronger every passing day. Now it's time for making some changes. Now it's time we all realize that the truth is falling right before our eyes. None of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If anyone is chained, none of us are free. 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 If anyone is chained, none of us are free. Like this. None of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If anyone is chained, none of us are free. One last time. None of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If anyone is chained, none of us are free. Go change the world, friends.
Can I get an amen? All right, now I'll go home.